back to a closer look. The holiday season is one of the most dangerous times of the year for household fires. Here to tell us about some tips that will help keep your family safe during the winter months is Rachel Zimba, Fire and Life Safety Educator with the Chesapeake Fire Department. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on.
Now, the holidays are coming up, and a lot of people like to cook turkeys, and it's become popular to fry a turkey. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some tips to fry a turkey in a safe way?
Sure. Well, first of all, NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Association, recommends that homeowners actually leave the frying up to the professionals. Typically, the oils and things that you get in the store aren't conducive to the kind of frying that you'd be doing at the house. If you really want to fry that turkey, we suggest you put it in a very clear, open location outside and stay with it. And just keep a check on the oil, because as the oil gets hot, it can ignite.
Because it can be very dangerous if you're not doing it right. So I think we've actually got some footage of what can happen if you have a fire with a turkey fry.
Oh, okay, great. That would be awesome.
Okay, so here we go. And this is actually, I guess, Chesapeake firefighters did this video to demonstrate.
Yes, ma'am. They did a demonstration on how to properly put the turkey in. And then, as you can tell, it gets hot and it's going to ignite off just because it's spilling. So as it spills out, all that hot oil is falling down to the ground, and that's what causes the ignition.
And it can get out of hand pretty quick, as
very
we can
quickly.
see.
It's only a matter of seconds.
And I know like a turkey fryer is sort of a big thing, so the recommendation again is to either leave it to the professionals.
Either leave it to the professionals, or they have all these new products out that are like deep frying things with air. So don't even worry about the oil.
All right,
one of those giant air fryers,
and it tastes just as good.
Just as good,
definitely.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now Christmas trees. What is some advice for, say, I would go out and buy a fresh Christmas tree and put it in my house? What do you advise people to do in regard to safety measures for that?
So we suggest that when you go out and buy your tree, make sure you pick one that is very well moisturized. It doesn't have a lot of dead pine needles and things like that on it. Once you bring it home, water it very well. Prior to putting your lights on, check the strands of the lights, make sure all the bulbs are there. If there's any bulbs missing, replace them.
Okay.
And make sure you definitely keep that tree watered, because the bulbs can catch a dry tree on fire, and then that'll cause a fire within your home.
And I wouldn't think about that. I wouldn't think about, like, you would have to worry about the bulbs would be something that would ignite it. So again, we do have a video, I think, that shows what can happen.
Yes.
So
as you can see, we have the tree here. Obviously, it looks like it may have been electrical shortage or something, maybe from a blown bulb, and that caused the shortage. And because this tree looks like it's very dry, as you can tell, it catches fire pretty quickly, because all that dry pine needles is just fuel for the fire.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like kindling. And then you have, of course, the wrapping paper underneath it with the gifts.
And all the little plastic ornaments and things on it.
That's amazing. That is
and it
really
doesn't take
scary.
long again for it to be completely engulfed, and now your whole room's on fire.
Wow. That's why I have an artificial tree.
Yes, no, me too.
But it can be beautiful, so.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us about the dangers of heaters, portable heaters? Because a lot of people I know in the winter months will get that little portable heater out.
Yes. If you're going to use them, make sure you plug it straight into the wall. We don't recommend using extension cords. And if you're going to, make sure there's nothing around it. So keep your children away, keep your animals away, keep all away from furniture, curtains, things like that can touch it and warm up. And then again, one small thing will create a whole fire.
Right. And a lot of people use that, unfortunately, as their heat source.
Yes. Unfortunately, you're right. They do use it as a heat source. But keep it in the middle of the room. Make sure your children and animals stay away, and you should be fine.
Okay. Now, let's see. Candles. Candles are, this time of year, it's people love to light the candles for the fragrance, but also just because it's, for the atmosphere. What advice do you have for candle safety?
So candles, everyone loves candles. You love the smells, the cinnamons, especially like you said, this time of year. It's so fall and winter-like. Again, don't put it on your end table. Put put it in the middle of your kitchen table or on the counter, somewhere in the middle where children can't hit it.
Right.
Your drapes can't hit it. And make sure you always make sure it's out before you leave, before you go to bed. Don't leave it going all night. And, just keep it in the middle and you should be fine.
And I know I have bought some artificial ones. There's some artificial candles that are very realistic and actually have like a little remote. So, and some of them even have a scent. So they run off a battery. So of course that's a lot safer. And then you don't run that risk of if you forget to turn, blow it out. So.
I personally like to use the Scentsy candles, because it's got it's electrical. You turn it on and off like a nightlight.
Okay.
And then you've got the little warmer on top of the little plastic melty things. And same concept as a scented candle.
Except that it's
a little safer.
Yes, it's a lot safer. So it's so worth it to invest in something like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, fireplaces and fire pits. I love a good fire pit, especially this time of year. What tips do you have for lighting that fire pit or fireplace safely?
So first of all, before you use your fireplace, excuse me, make sure you have your chimney clean. You can have a professional do it. Quick phone book, Google search will find you one. And then make sure you clean it out every time you use it. Same thing with your fire pits. Make sure you clean them out every time. We recommend putting it in a metal bucket and taking that bucket and taking it outside of your home. Don't put it in the garage. Don't leave it in your home.
Right, because it could
take it outside. Those are hot, heated embers that are in there, and let it cool. Let it cool overnight. Let it cool 24 hours before you then properly dispose of it in the trash can or in the garbage trash can outside. But definitely make sure you let it cool and give it a long time to cool. Otherwise, you could potentially have a fire.
Now, like fire pits, what do you recommend? I know a lot of people like to just grab stuff and put it in to like burn it. And
sticks, leaves, the kindling that you can get at the store, we don't recommend. Household trash, don't burn your bills. And then put a screen over it. You have the big pits now that come with the screen. The screen keeps the embers in, and then it causes a less chance of them flying and maybe catching something on fire.
So it's important too to make sure that you put it out once you're finished. Because,
yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
definitely. Make sure you put it out. A simple water, garden hose for the fire pits. Obviously, we don't want you to use a garden hose for the fireplace.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, make sure you put it out. Make sure it's out all the way. So pour a little water on it. Get a shovel and kind of move the embers around and pour a little bit more water. Make sure you don't see anything smoldering, any smoke still lingering before you put it away for the night.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think of it's sort of contained in a fire pit, but it's really not. If the wind comes along and a spark, that's all it takes.
All it takes is a little wind gust and a little bitty ember.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on and giving us these great tips. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I certainly have enjoyed being here.
Thank you. Well, that does it for this edition of A Closer Look. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.